Now, this is Prep Test 158, Section 4, Passage 4 about corporate criminal liability, where two groups of critics try to destroy it and the author fights them both off. This is a medium difficulty passage, not because the topic is hard, but because the passage throws two different arguments at you that are easy to smush together. Now, this is a law passage. The author is defending a position that already exists. Corporations should face criminal punishment. And the whole passage is structured around dismantling two separate attacks on that idea. Now, before I walk through the paragraphs, you want to know this. Paragraph 4 is the one that matters the most. That is where the author stops playing defense and finally makes their own case. Everything before it is set up and counterpunching. Now, paragraph 1 gives you the first group of critics. These theorists want to replace criminal liability with civil liability. They hand you three reasons. Civil penalties do a better job sizing up the right punishment. Criminal charges trash a company's reputation so badly that everybody pays for it through higher prices. And criminal prosecution is expensive for the government because the procedural protections are so heavy. Now, here is how to read this paragraph. You don't want to memorize the three reasons, just tag them as cost arguments. Every single one boils down to money. Civil is cheaper for the company, cheaper for society, cheaper for the government. That is the thread. And when you see it that way, the author's response in paragraph 2 hits differently. Then paragraph 2 is the author pushing back, and the structure here is sneaky. It opens with what looks like a concession, even if it's less economical. The author is giving away the cost argument on purpose. They're saying, fine, criminal liability costs more, doesn't matter, because deterrence is actually what counts. The author gives you enforcement powers and the weakness of civil litigation as reasons, but the real move comes at the very end. The author says criminal law exists to censure wrongdoing, to send a message that society rejects certain behavior. Civil liability can't do that job. Now, don't treat that last point like it's third on a list. It is the foundation. Everything else is supporting detail. The author cares about criminal liability because of what it means, not what it costs. And if you miss that, you're going to get the author's attitude wrong. Then paragraph 3 is where the passage pivots. And this is the moment that catches people. These theorists are fine with criminal penalties. They just want to aim them at the individuals inside the corporation, not the corporation itself. Their reasoning is that real people are more afraid of prosecution than a company is of a fine. And they make a fairness argument. Punishing the corporation really punishes shareholders, employees, and the public. You want to speed through the details here. What matters is that you recognize the shift. Paragraph 1 critics said, get rid of criminal liability. Paragraph 3 critics said, keep criminal liability but redirect it. Those are two completely different positions. If you blur them, the test is going to punish you. Now, paragraph 4 is where you slow way down. The author dismantles the paragraph 3 view with two specific problems. First, corporations bury responsibility so deep that you can't find the right person to go after. Second, and this one's sharp, a company can just pick a scapegoat, pay them off, and keep doing whatever they were doing. And that's cheaper than actually changing. Then the author pivots to their own affirmative case. Criminal liability aimed at corporations works because it shrinks their wealth. Shareholders notice, shareholders push for change. And right at the end, the author plays a trump card. Look at the final sentence. The author is saying economic protection for shareholders and employees is outweighed by safety. Safety for workers, the public, and the environment. And that's not a legal argument anymore, it is a values argument. The author is ranking human safety above financial comfort. And that ranking is exactly the kind of thing the LSAT loves to build questions around. Now, the key move in this passage is the concession then override pattern in paragraph 2. The author admits criminal liability costs more, then argues it doesn't matter because the purpose of criminal law goes beyond economics. And that sets up the entire rest of the passage. Every counter-argument after that gets measured against purpose, not price. Now, the author believes criminal liability for corporations is necessary and worth the cost. The main trap is treating the two critic groups as one. Now, a wrong answer on a viewpoint question will swap their positions. It'll give the paragraph 1 critics the target individuals argument, or give the paragraph 3 critics the switch to civil liability argument. And the LSAT will build those crossover answers because students who read too fast see critics of corporate criminal liability and stop distinguishing the positions. Now, before you hit the questions, you want to make sure you're solid on three things. First, why does the author think going after individuals inside a corporation won't actually fix anything? Second, what does the author believe is the main purpose of criminal law? And is it about cost, deterrence, or something deeper? And third, Can you name the specific difference between what the paragraph 1 critics want and what the paragraph 3 critics want?